stars that ever shone, not one does twinkle like your pale blue eyes, like golden corn at harvest time, your hair sailing in my boat. The wind gently blows and fills my sail. Your sweet scented breath is everywhere. No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you return again. Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain? Daylight peeping through the curtain of the passing nighttime is your smile, and the sun in the sky is like your laugh. Come back to me, my Nancy, linger for just a little while. Since you left these shores, I've known no peace nor joy. No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you return again. Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain?
On the day in spring, when snow starts to melt and streams to flow, with the birds I'll sing this song. Then in the while I'll wander down by Bluebell Stream, where wildflowers grow, and I hope that lovely Nancy will return.
No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you'll return again. Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain? No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you'll return again. Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain? Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain?
Don't you think you're being a little too hard on him?
No, I don't.
Richard, he's not some Wall Street whale you can bully into buying what you're selling.
You think I bully everyone, doesn't matter who I argue with.
Well, there might be some truth in it.
Just because I know what I'm talking about doesn't mean I'm a bully.
All I'm saying is, there might be another side to this story. The man was lied to. They were keeping things from him.
No, I read the report. I don't care what they were or were not telling him. He had to know. They were reckless, inattentive. They could have saved her. They knew the route was there and they ignored it. I'm not being too hard on him. I'm just getting warmed up.
his heart he's a stubborn old soul, still going strong, nearly 90 years old. He's quick with his tongue and as sharp as an axe, and his mind is made up, don't confuse him with facts. Now Grandpa don't care for the luxuries of life. The bathroom upstairs is okay for the wife. Still got the old outhouse on the beach by the store, and he keeps his boots ready out by the porch door. Each morning at daybreak he walks down the path, with no one around except Grandma's old cat. He sits smoking his pipe with his pants to his knees, with the door hung wide open, enjoying the breeze. Well, summer has ended and fall coming on. There's snow on the hills and there's ice on the pond. I'm afraid that someday I'll find Grandpa alone, as stiff as a poker froze onto his throne. But don't tell old Grandpa not to go to the beach. You'll learn that old dogs are not easy to teach. He's quick with his tongue and as sharp as an axe, and his mind is made up, don't confuse him with facts. His mind is made up, don't confuse him with facts.
That's great, Chester. But I was talking about out-migration, evacuating Newfoundland, not your grandfather's bowels.
Well, that's a sort of migration if you thinks about it. I mean, certainly things did move from one place to another.
Okay, Chester,
And
I
since
think...
the pandemic hit, sure, it's about 5 internal migrations a day.
Right! Well, let's talk about the pandemic, Chester. What are your thoughts on life during COVID?
Well, girl, you know, it was hard, right? But at least we got people back to planting gardens and making preserves and that again, you know, that's nice. Reminds me of the old days. Like the black and white photos I'd seen in my grandmother's, and I was just a little nipper.
Seemed everyone had a garden back before Confederation and the baby bonus and all that foolishness, right?
When there were big wooden schooners in the bay, instead of them ugly old draggers ripping the ocean apart through the 70s and 80s.
Simpler times, boy.
Oh, that's interesting, Chester. What are your thoughts on life now as compared to before Confederation? Do you think our way of life has improved, or have we lost something as a people and as a culture?
Well,
I don't know about all that, but I do know my neighbour Claire was digging up his potatoes, he found a foot.
Excuse me?
a foot.
An honest to goodness human foot. And some says it were just an early old person, but you're how can that be? Only planted potatoes there?
No, boy, he says it were a foot.
Thanks for your time, Chester.
Okay, we're nearly back.
Sally, don't you think things are getting a little out of hand?
Pardon me?
Well, I mean, this is a debate, not a screaming match. Wouldn't it be wise to take the temperature in the room down a notch? I mean, things are getting a little personal.
People want personal. They want passion. Look, they keep it up, and this is the tape I use to convince Toronto to give me a national show. A show that will need a producer. Understood?
I got to say, my blood is boiling listening to the two of ye. Has it not occurred to you, Richard, that Newfoundland and Labrador has largely been ignored by the big three political parties? Every time the polls suggest a tight election, our province gets wined and dined, but once the Liberals or the Tories wins, we gets ghosted. Always gets little bits of the pie, but never anything that can promote real lasting change. We got 7 elected representatives in Ottawa, and if they can't get the attention of whatever government is in power, how do you expect the provincial government to do any better? All things being equal.
Oh, well, that's just it, Mrs. M. All things are not equal. Through equalization, Newfoundland and Labrador is given 17% of its budget from the feds, while the other Atlantic provinces get double that. Newfoundland and Labrador is the eternal afterthought because we've allowed ourselves to be. And if the Bloc Québécois manages to get a bunch of seats during an election, then forget it. Their national extortion game starts and we slide even further down the queue. They have 77 seats, and what do we have? A baker's six-pack of glad-handing fools, hardly a voice at all. And so the social welfare system that was created to help the poorer provinces now favors the rich. It favors Quebec to the tune of $13 billion of the $20 billion available. So answer me this, James. When the province was selling barrels of oil at a comically high price and was forced to pay into equalization, why didn't your finance department push for provisions for a fair share of the equalization monies from the feds should oil go back to normal?
We were recording surpluses. For the first time since joining Confederation.
Which meant you had leverage. It wasn't a time to apologize for being poor in the past. It was a time to prepare for being poor again in the future. The federal Liberals threw Newfoundland and Labrador under the bus in 2018 when they set the terms of the program in stone. We're owed billions in back payments, but that wasn't even on your radar. No, you were too busy fiddling while Rome burned.
Nobody had a crystal ball, Richard. And the feds weren't interested in our province showing up with its handout, just as Ontario was experiencing its greatest economic downturn since the housing bubble exploded in the 90s.
Oh, please.
For the first time in history, Ontario was receiving equalization payments, but we're supposed to just sidle up to the troughs, eh? Saying, hey, please, sir, may I have some more?
Will you listen to that mentality? This is the problem. It wouldn't have been begging. It would have been a fair deal. Another missed opportunity. If you'd been sensible enough to budget oil at historically relevant prices you could have saved for a rainy day instead of glad-handing your voters and bloating the civil service on your way to some sort of foolish legacy.
Of course I wanted to be cautious. And of course I knew oil would succumb to its own volatility, but there were other departments, an entire government culture up in the Confederation building that was sick of cutting and slashing and turning their pockets out and throwing their hands in the air in defeat. Every 30 kilometers along the TCH, there's another outport community dotting the coastline. That's another community in need. Our entire province has a population of, 520,000? That's the size of a decent-sized city. And yet, we've got more than 60 primary care facilities to pay for.
That's exactly my point. Newfoundland and Labrador has one of the lowest population densities in the country. Labrador has 6% of the province's population spread out over 71% of its land. The equalization formula doesn't take that kind of strain on services into account.
This isn't a what's the best direction for the entire province kind of place, Richard. We never stopped being a country. The reality of this place makes that equation unsustainable in the long run.
How can
we were trying to give people a sense of hope for once. While we had the chance, and we did the best we could.
Well, while your government was betting on hope, I was making hundreds of millions of dollars betting that oil would be priced exactly what it was worth.
Well, tell me this then, Richard. If you're such a patriot, then why didn't you call the government and tell them what you knew was coming down the pike?
I tried, but between the parties and festivals and all the summer-long celebrations, I couldn't get anyone on the phone.
Now you listen to me. Running government is nothing like working for some Wall Street firm. You have no idea what it's like to work in the public sector.
Don't patronize me.
Then you put your money where your mouth is and you throw your hat in the ring. Go on, Richard. Do it. Run for office. Fix things from the inside rather than just lambasting us all from the cheap seats.
So how about it, Richard? You certainly seem to think that you're the only man qualified for the job. Any designs on the Premier's office?
Yes. If one of the parties is willing to strip things down to the studs and start over, I just might. But if anyone can tell me the difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives in this province, I'll write you into my will.
Well, the phone lines are lighting up. Don't go away.